Hello everyone, this is Spliced and welcome to a little bit of a different video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I get my customizations for my characters, specifically the Lawbringer. You guys have been requesting this for a while, and I've been just putting it off because I didn't really think it was that important of a video, but you guys were a little bit more persistent in recent days, so I decided to try to give you guys my insight on how I do this, and basically just what I do for my character to get my look. So with that being said, we're going to start off with a completely new character here. So we're going to start off with the just a blank Lawbringer. And we're going to go start with the weapons and armor first. So, starting off with the helmet, I like to choose this helmet, the Darash helmet, and I know people are in disagreement with me. A lot of people like to choose different helmets, and of course it's all about personal opinion, but in my opinion, I think that this one is the best one because it has, is a little bit weird to say, but I feel like it brings the most personality to the character. Being a completely blank face like this, or even this, it doesn't really show, it doesn't really have like any kind of face in itself, and that's kind of weird to say because it's just a helmet. But even a helmet, if you don't have any kind of facial recognition whatsoever, like for example, this right here, this visor can indicate that this is where the eyes are. But right here, you can't really see anything. There's not really any show of eyes or anything like that. So with this helmet, it actually creates opportunity to create a facial kind of recognition. And with that, you can use that to actually shape what your head is going to look like. And personally, I think that looks really good. So I chose this helmet. And we're going to be going later into the symbols and why I chose the symbols for the helmet and all that stuff. Moving on to the chest piece. This is just very standard. It's one of the standard chest pieces you get, and the reason why I chose this one is just because of the spikes you get at the top in the neck area. It's just a little bit more mean and adds a little bit more effect to the actual piece itself. So it's just a little bit more bulkier. Plus, there's the big chain right here. As you can see, it's a little bit big, and it just adds a little bit more character to the class as well. Showing off the fact that it's supposed to be a mean class indeed, in comparison to these other chest pieces that, in my opinion, they just seem very standard and they don't really have too much going for them. This one is okay, but it doesn't have the spikes, and personally I like the spikes more. And so it's all about personal opinion on this one as well, not too much to talk about. Moving on to the shoulders, this is the same thing, but just in shoulder form. Hold on. Let me equip that. There we go. Same thing with the shoulders. It's just spiky versions, and they're really, really big spikes. And already you can see the huge increase in the intimidation value for it. So again, it's just, you know, adding some spikes. This one is not too bad, but it doesn't have like the protruding spikes, of course. It's big shoulders though, and in some classes I actually prefer to have the big shoulders over the spike shoulders, but for this character I like to go with the spikes. Moving on to the weapon, this one is all about personal opinion. Personally, I like this axe the most. It's one of the more recent ones that came with Season 2. This axe head is very nice, as a nice gold design on the inner and also the nice silver shine on the outer side. Also, it's a pretty big shape in itself, so I like big things when it comes to the weapons. And this is what I originally used, which is still pretty decent, but it just kind of looks like a generic curved semicircle axe head. So, you know, in comparison to this one, it has more unique flavor to it, so that's why I chose this one. Moving on to the shaft, there isn't really anything too special about the shaft. Personally, I just choose this one because it's just to mix it up a bit. This is the previous one I used, which is still pretty good, but I've been using it for a while and I just wanted to switch it up, so I'm using this one. And this one personally I don't really like too much. I know people do like it though, but personally it just kind of looks like it's Christmas wrapping paper, if that's any way to describe it, so that's why I don't choose that. Moving on to the spike. So for the spike, it's pretty straightforward. It has a dragon eye in the middle and a very nice sharp spike at the top with the wing wrapped around the spike, which makes it very nice it really like comes together. If you see right here, you can just see that the axe head kind of looks like it's out of place, but with this it looks like it's part of the actual weapon. I know that the color doesn't really match with the shaft, but you can't really help that too much. This one blends in with the axe head really well, but it does not really have the appeal to me personally. The skulls are nice, but it just doesn't really appeal. So that's why I chose the spike like this. So that's it for the look. So we have our character already. This is just the generic weapon and armor look, but the real character appearance comes out of the symbols and the paint patterns you put on your character to really put that diversity on your character as well, which is what we're going to be doing right now. But first we're going to be changing our material. So usually this is what you start off with: the iron. You can go with the bronze, the copper, the silver, the gold, and the black iron. Now the reason why I choose the black iron over every other is not because I liked the color black over every other color, although black is a very nice color, but the reason why I do choose it is because it makes all the other paint patterns and symbols shine a lot more, because the black takes away all the color and all the light absorption, and with that you're able to make all the other things jut out and show itself a lot more easier. So that's with the material. We're going to move on to the ornament real quickly. So I've been using this one for the longest time. The reason why I use this one is because it hides the rest of the helmet. As you can see right here, it shows the two sides of the helmet, these two sides right here. And the reason why I choose this is because it hides it. And it's also a very nice design. I like it. The shield is also being changed to a black shield on the next update to go with the material you're choosing. So I like this design. It's very nice. It's nothing too special, but I think it's I personally like it. But recently I've been using this one, which came with the new mythic outfit, and if you look at it, it's a very, very cool dragon head design. Now it does expose a little bit of the sides of the helmet, which personally I can get over with, because the dragon head itself looks really good, or the serpent skeletal helmet, or ornament I should say. I keep saying dragon because it looks like a dragon kind of, but maybe it's not. So yeah, that's just why I choose the one of these two. This one personally, it would be good if there wasn't this giant head in the middle. The wings would be nice if they were on the side too, but there's not much you can do about that. So these are why we're going to do this one for now, just for the sake of the video. Alright, so now it's time to move on to the paint patterns. So for the helmet, this is all about personal preference. Actually, really quick, let me go to the colors and choose the color of my choice. I like to do dusk because orange is my favorite color, so I like to use that. And same thing for attacker. Defender, we're going to go all the way down to journey. Of course, you have to be reputation 10 to unlock this, so this one's all about personal preference again. But that does not mean that these colors are not important. They actually are, because they can change the way that your symbols and paint patterns look. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be going with my generic color scheme. So psychedelic 4, curved lines, and all these other things that you get as you level up. Of course, you're going to be unlocking a whole bunch of other ones, and it's important to, when you're going through them, to decide if you want a paint pattern at all, or if you just want to be without one. Usually on the helmet, it's actually a good idea to not have a paint pattern, but for the Lawbringer, I found out that actually having a paint pattern is pretty decent, because it hides all the edge of the helmet and actually gives it its own. With this specific paint pattern, Hill Burst, it hides a lot of the outer side of the helmet, and what that does is it puts a lot more focus into the middle of the helmet, which is where I'm going to be getting into what I'm going to use the symbol for. Again, it'll sound weird when I explain it, but personally I think it just adds a lot more value to the character, especially when you're zoomed out and you see the enemy or the character from a distance. So already, if we take a look at it, you can see there's a huge difference in the character just from changing the material color and the paint pattern on the helmet. So now we're going to move to the symbol. And this is more, not really about personal preference. It's actually about what actually makes the character look good. So for example, if I do this, it just doesn't look good. You can already see it kind of just blanks out the whole character face, and it just doesn't really match. So you have to really go through and see which one does not take up the whole face, but at the same time has its own standpoint. And so I looked through, and this is where I found that the gold liss, or the gold lease, is actually probably the best one to have for the face. As you can see, if I equip this and then I go to examine the character, the reason why this shows out so much is, one, it has different color schemes for the other symbols don't. Like, you can see that these are all just one color scheme. This one is also a different color scheme that I had, but it just does not really seem to work because it kind of gives a different facial expression. And what do I mean by that? If you look at this, it actually looks like it actually has a face now. The actual head looks like it has a face. And why that's important for character looks, for characters that don't even have a face, is it creates a character personality. And I know that sounds really weird because this is character customization. It's character customization on armor. It's not really anything you'd think that is too important, but personally I think that it does have an impact of importance. When I'm in my upper stance, or even just a regular stance, my head is tilted down, and when my head is tilted down, this visor right here is also tilted down, making it look like I'm more mean and intimidating. And I've noticed that when I see myself against an enemy and I view myself from an enemy's standpoint, it looks a lot more intimidating in my personal view. Of course, if you think that other symbols might be better, you're free to try them, but I just think that the gold list is the best for the helmet. We don't need an engraving because the engravings kind of just take away again from the helmet, and they don't really add anything of value to themselves. So that is it for the helmet. As you can see, progress is already being made, and we're already making good progression on our character. We just need to finish up the shoulders, the chest, the back, and the standards on the legs. So for the shoulders, it's the same with the helmet. I like to try to maintain the same kind of pattern for each thing to just maintain a good pattern going with my character. So again, we're going to go with Hill Burst. Then the symbol. The symbol is personal preference, but I like to use the swords because 2 swords going to the edge plus the nice ribbons coming out of it. It really takes up the whole shoulder like this. As you can see, it's already fully detailed out, and it adds a really nice effect. So let me just do that to the other side right now real quick. And there you go. So now we're going to move on to the chest. The chest, again, we're going to do the Hill Burst. And for those wondering what I did before I got to Reputation 10, I had this. I had the skewed verticals, and the reason why I did this is because it completely took away from the whole chest, and it made room for me to put other stuff on there. It's a little confusing, I know, but sometimes simplicity with the character is also a good diversity for it as well, to give a little more personality to it. And here I'm going to be choosing the swords again. The feathered sword I think is also really good because it has different color palettes for its color scheme. And so with that, it has created a whole different character look. As you can see, we already made great progress on the character. And if you guys are wondering where you get this, I will get to that at the end of the video, but we're just going to keep moving on right now. For the standards, you can actually switch it up a bit. So the recent Mythic outfits just came out, and I'm liking to use the Constellation 3 right now. The reason why I like to make it different from everything else is because a little bit diversity actually is good. If you make everything the same, it might not actually come out great. In this certain case, having the Hill Burst is not too bad. Like this, it's okay. It's pretty decent actually. But I've been using this recently. I think it's pretty good. And then I'm gonna put my symbol there. This could be whatever. I just have my symbol there just for whatever reason, my emblem. And that is it. So there you go. This is the full character completed. And that's just simply how you do it. You just got to look for the what symbols and what paint patterns work with each thing, and then you got to have the armor pieces that go with it as well. I spent a good amount of time here making sure that this character looks like this, and this is how I was able to make this character. Alright, so we're going to be moving on to the outfits real quick, and this is also really important. Whenever a new outfit comes out, I always look at everything, the paint patterns and the symbols alike, as well as the new colors that come out. So for example, if we look at this, you can see that there is the cross on the shoulder. You can see that there's a different cross on the chest piece, and that's about it for this one. Moving on to the elite, this is where you get the feathered sword. I know a lot of people ask for it, but as you can see on the shoulder piece right there, that's where you get the feathered sword. You buy this elite outfit for the knights, and you can get this sword piece as a symbol. And for all these other characters, there's also the ornaments you got to look at as well. Maybe there's better ones you want to buy. And then there's also all the color schemes and the paint patterns and everything like that. And recently, this outfit just came out, so I looked at it and I saw the constellation paint pattern, and I thought it was really cool. Plus, of course, the effect that comes with it, and the ornament, of course. So I bought that. And that's about it. That's all you guys really need to know. You just got to keep looking at every single new outfit that comes out and all the other things that go with it, and that's how you make your character. I'm not going to be going into the details about all the other characters, of course, but this is just to give you guys a general idea of how this works, and hopefully it helped you guys in customizing your own characters. So good luck with that in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.